Hello everyone, and welcome to another XTIVIA Live Session, B2B Marketing and Strategy in 2019 with Lynn Scheurell. My name is Alex Killian, and I'm the video producer and editor here on XTIVIA's marketing team. Before we dive into our live session this morning, I would love to tell you just a little bit about our company. Since 1992, XTIVIA has established a proven reputation as a company that delivers leading-edge IT solutions and technology support for our clients' specific requirements. Our service areas include mobile app development, BIDW, CRM, ERP, data management, web portal, digital experience design, and EIM services and solutions. And XTIVIA's success really stems from a demonstrated ability to leverage our deep expertise via professional services. We try to empower our clients to leverage their chosen technology successfully, competitively, and profitably. And we've got offices in Colorado, New York, New Jersey, Missouri, Texas, and Virginia. Today we'll be hearing from Lynn Scheurell, the lead digital strategist for XTIVIA. Lynn has been creating experiences through content and copy in digital marketing and messaging since 1998. She's known for her unique perspective, her positive, empowering mindset, and her abilities as a high communicator to deliver significant value. Lynn translates complex concepts into simple clarity for practical action. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Alex. So here's what we're going to talk about. B2B marketing usually focuses on large-scale, complex solutions. Gartner's research found, in fact, that 77% of B2B buyers feel that making a purchase is very complicated or difficult, calling it time-consuming and even painful. The reason for that is because while organizations have digitized their content and operations, they have not yet updated their strategy, and that's what we're going to talk about now. So we're going to go through a few key points, and we're going to cover a lot in a very short period of time. So I apologize for that, but I want to be able to give you as much as possible in the time that we have together. So we're going to cover the old versus now buying journey, the customer points of resolution, meaning when do they make a decision, plus the marketing team's goals and how that matches up. We're going to talk about the top 10 B2B marketing strategies. We're going to talk about content marketing for buyer enablement. That's a great phrase, right? Buyer enablement. A sample content marketing map, just to show you what's possible. And it's, what I play with a lot. Elements of a good loyalty loop, which is so important because you attract these clients, you want to make sure you're holding on to them, right? So we're going to talk about your marketing and strategy, and then 5 steps to create a B2B marketing strategy. So we've got a lot to cover in a very short period of time. So let's roll on. So this is the old versus now buying journey. And you can see that at one point, the marketing funnel looked a little bit like an ice cream cone. The idea was to get people in at the top and then progress them down into a buying decision. Then became kind of an ascending model, almost like a gravity well. It was slightly a modification of that. And in this model, really the B2B buyer's journey is the same as the B2C buyer's journey. It just involves more people. and on the right side, you'll see that there's really a cycle of 4 phases that attract, convert, delight, and advocate. And so that's something that's a little more current. We're working with that at XTIVIA. And really, part of me thinks B2B or even B2C sounds, it just sort of leaves the people out of it. So maybe it should be more like H to H buying journey. I'm just saying, but anyway. Okay, so the next slide shows the reality of what's going on today. Really, what's happening is that there's 3 buyer kind of milestones. They have awareness, then there's conversion, and then there's retention. The part of the cycle that takes the longest is the awareness to conversion. They're evaluating, they're considering, they're trying, they're buying. Sometimes there's committees, sometimes there's a process. Once they finally convert, then they're going to get started, they're going to develop what they're doing, they're going to use what the solution brings them. But what will happen is, just like there's in the awareness loop, they might have to loop through that several times. Once they are in retention mode, they will be sharing and referring and advocating and ideally anyway, they're going to be telling good things, right? Well, as they're retaining their business with you, they're going to be aware of additional services and opportunities, and it's going to loop back. It's going to reinforce why they're retaining their relationship with you. That's what's called a loyalty loop. And so sometimes we don't think about these things. And so there's really two little loops that take some time. The first one is just bringing them from awareness to conversion. The second one is the loyalty loop. That's where they're already a customer, but they're becoming more aware of additional opportunities to talk about what they're doing with you, what projects look like, and how they can share their story. You cannot share a story of success without talking about who's helped you get there, right? So that's the advantage of having case studies and success stories and testimonials, and helping your customers have a language to refer to their work with you. That's also very helpful. So that's the loyalty loop, and that's, sometimes we don't think about it. We really want to talk about, as marketers, we want to talk about creating a memorable brand experience, and that's, it's all through the whole process, but the loyalty loop is a key element that often gets overlooked. So let's talk about where customers are making decisions. There are different points of resolution that they are working with. So, when we were looking at the product funnel, the marketing funnel, we want to talk about demand gen. I'm kind of collecting my thoughts as I go because there's so much I want to tell you. So demand gen is kind of the top of the funnel strategy that creates awareness and interest in whatever it is that you're offering, your product or service. Demand gen addresses the first three things that your B2B buyers need to make a buying decision. So they're going to be identifying their problem, they're going to be exploring a solution, and they're going to build their requirements. So demand gen sort of addresses all three of those. Then lead gen, which is more specific, it's where they convert into being a lead, right? That's found in the traditional funnel. It's kind of in the middle, but this is where interest is converted into action. So lead gen tactics solve the last 3 points of resolution for B2B buyers in making a buying decision. So they're selecting their supplier, they're validating their decision, and they're creating consensus within their organizations. Now, remember that retention and advocacy is the loyalty loop, where one-time customers become repeat customers with upgrades and additions. And the loop returns the customer to the beginning of their journey with identifying new problems and opportunities and solutions. So when you put these together, it overlaps, which is kind of nice. Now, as a marketer, we have to think about strategy and action steps to create a customer experience that resolves each of these points, right? So that's where demand gen, lead gen, and retention and recovery becomes the language of the marketer that addresses the customer points of resolution. So it's just, I just love marketing and I love talking about it. So if you want to explore what's happening in your organization, please, I'll share my information at the end of what we're doing here. So reach out. I'd love to have a conversation. But for now, let's talk about the top 10 B2B marketing strategies. Each one of these strategies could literally be its own session, class, workshop, seminar, and each can apply to more than one stage of the buyer's journey. The most urgent priority is really the first one, which is having a great website. You've got to have a place where people can come and explore and identify, build their requirements. And so in the B2B business environment, the next one that I would say is events are really great for lead gen. Why is that? Well, because today's empowered buyer still wants to build relationships, and events are the best way to initiate and cultivate relationships. If you don't have the capacity to host an event, just go to the ones that are relevant in your industry and just know who's going to be there. B2B demand gen marketing makes companies and buyers aware of the problem that the buyer has. They become aware that a solution exists, that you have the solution as the company, and that you are interested in learning more about what's going on for them, just as they're interested in learning about what you can do for them. And so these are some of the digital strategies that work best for demand generation are display ads, content marketing. That's a big one. I heard somebody say that content marketing is the king of marketing, but I heard someone else say, yeah, right, it's the king, queen, and the full court. So content marketing is really where it's at. video marketing, which is again based on content just delivered in a virtual format, social media marketing and advertising, that's critical, search engine optimization. So these are all different strategies you want to be thinking about in your 360-degree digital marketing, B2B marketing and strategies. So, and I know I'm kind of moving quickly. One of the things you also want to pay attention to is what they call the Google 3-pack. So when the top 3 searches of any Google search, 41% of clicks go to just those top 3 companies. A lot of people don't get past page 1. That's why SEO is so important, and pay-per-click advertising. So I just wanted to share those statistics with you just because it's really important to think about being where your customer is already looking. So hopefully this is provoking some new thoughts. But let's talk about content marketing again, because this is what enables buyers to be savvy and empowered and give them the information that they need to make a good buying decision. 91% of B2B marketers are using content marketing. And for me, I would say that, you know, in the absence of content, you actually don't really have any marketing, right? You know, things can look pretty, but if they're not providing some context and narrative value, it's not really helpful to the buyer in terms of making a decision. So B2B marketers really need to think about buyer enablement for content, which means content that supports the completion of the critical buying tasks that customers need to go through in their buying experience. Think self-service. Buyers today, and whether it's B2B or B2C or whatever, buyers want to know as much as possible before they actually have to talk to someone. You're probably like this too, right? When you're ready to make a purchase, you want to get as much information as possible, you want to be informed, and you only want to talk to someone when you're ready to talk to that person. So to build this type of content in B2B marketing, as leaders, we need to, number one, we have to understand the decision points, the points of resolution, and the tasks that buyers need to experience through their decision journey. 2, we have to provide information and tools that target and address these specific tasks. So think of that as a conversation, really. But you have to think through the conversation to be ready for it and give people what it is that they need so that they can be more informed and better prepared to work with you. And then 3, we need to make that information available to buyers through their preferred channels. It's not about us, it's about being where they're already looking, right? So Gartner did a study and they found that currently only about 20% of the information on B2B websites actually supports buyer enablement, which isn't that kind of shocking? You know, that's buyer enablement is everything, and yet a lot of the websites really don't have it. That means there's a wide open opportunity for brands to, when they're savvy and they provide this kind of information, they can easily become industry leaders. So something to think about in terms of demand gen, blogs and webinars are great. For lead gen, you're solving for a different problem. You're solving for conversion. So in lead gen, you need to help buyers through supplier selection, validation, and consensus creation. And the best content pieces for that stage are case studies and credibility builders, authority builders that help create buy-in from other stakeholders. So maybe their CFO or a buying committee or something like that. So in that case, you'd want to use testimonials, reviews, press releases, blurbs about partnerships and awards, maybe anecdotes about your company's culture and history and core values, of course, case studies, success stories, white papers. You know, so these are all different ways that you're establishing credibility and giving that buyer something to go back to their team with to say, yeah, this is a great company. So I read a statistic somewhere, and I apologize, I don't know the source, but 7% of buyers say that a lot of the B2B content that is out there is just useless. And that just, I don't know, that breaks my heart a little bit. So what they say that they want are examples from customers and peers, content from credible sources. They want short, digestible content. And so in giving B2B buyers what it is that they're looking for, you want to avoid talking about yourself. It's about them. You also don't want to focus on product features. It's not about features anymore. It's people don't actually care about those things. They don't. They just want to know that the problem is going to be solved, but it's not about features. The content also needs to be written by experts, people who actually know what they're talking about. For that, they got to have street cred. They got to know what they're talking about. And I don't know, I'm a little torn. There are some people that say that long content is not helpful. And for me, that's anything over about 2,000 words, maybe 3 to 5 minutes in a video, for example. And long content, people go back and forth on this, but when somebody's really interested in something, they're going to read every single thing about that they can get their hands on about whatever it is that you're talking about. So for me, top of the funnel content, quote unquote, is really the short bites. But when somebody's very serious about getting ready to buy, they want to know all the details. So, we should do in the future, well, remind me, we're going to talk about the 4 voices of customers if you want, because there's different ways that some buyers buy emotionally, some are intellectual, some move fast, some are more slow in making decisions, and we can talk about that. We just don't have time for that in this one. But anyway, so this is another statistic. This 62% of buyers say they can finalize their purchase selection criteria based on digital content alone. Digital content, content marketing, it is everything. So you want to make sure that you've got some really strong content marketing that enables your buyers to make decisions. So just to show you, now remember that that 4-part, the attraction, conversion, these 4 match that previous slide, but just to show you, as a content marketer, at each stage of the buying experience, there's different kinds of content that you would want to use. This is a sample content map. From this, you would it's like think of it as a library. You just pull out the little pieces that kind of match. And of course, you're doing this by persona too. This is where it gets really sophisticated. You've got to know your persona, who you're talking to. You've got to know what stage of the journey they're in. You have to know what they're expecting to get at that journey, what's going to actually help enable them to make a decision, how they can go back to their company or their peers. So these are some of the pieces. And I just wanted to share this with you, not to overwhelm you, but to show you it is really sophisticated to design a customer buying journey when you're doing it right. So okay, let's talk about elements of a good loyalty loop. So remember, the loyalty loop is in the dark blue on this screen. And so it's vital because this is a great statistic. It's 350% or more profitable to sell to an existing customer than to cultivate a new one. So, we want to make sure that our customers are happy, right? So the top 5 kinds of content marketing for the loyalty loop: blogs, right? Blogs. By seeing what's new with whatever it is that you're offering, you help your customers know what's possible for next level business. So the better the blogs, the more skills and knowledge you share, the more value and credibility you have, and that just reinforces the relationship. Ebooks and white papers, of course, that empowers your customers by educating them with substantive content and insight. Then, of course, social media. Social media is the front door of your marketing. So by being consistent with posting blogs and videos and articles and webinars and updates and solutions and success stories and all that kind of stuff, not only does that attract interest, but it makes it really easy for someone to just forward whatever it is to someone that needs to become a referral. It also reinforces the value. They get to say, yes, I'm associated with that great brand that's doing such good work. And when you're doing that in social media, by the way, remember the 80-20 rule. 80% is information, only 20% is promotion. Videos are great for visual types when it comes to retention and advocacy. Now, personally, I'm a reader, so I have to just say, I would rather read something, but people learn in different ways. So that's why you want to have videos. You want to have audios, actually. You want to have blogs and written content. You can repurpose your content too. So you might have a script from a video that you can flip into an article or a blog post, or any other success stories or whatever. So videos are good for all stages of the buying journey. Just make sure that if you use YouTube, make sure you you annotate them properly to get the maximum juice from searches. Webinars are a fantastic way to, like this one, to help people consume your information or be more adept with your solution. Webinars are great for how-tos, interviews with customers, Q&As. Whether you pre-record them or do them live, they're really effective. You just want to have some consistency in how you're doing it. In addition to what's here, I do want to mention email marketing. I don't know, I wanted just to keep it to just the top 5, but email email marketing has like something like a 4,400% return on investment for every dollar spent. I forget where I got that, but I read that somewhere, and so I apologize again. I can find my source if you're really interested, but it is just a really great way to make sure your brand stays top of mind, and helping your existing customers stay top of mind with what you're doing with products and insights and new deals and options. So, and in terms of email marketing, that's things like newsletters, blog newsletters, webinar notifications, thank you and culture building emails, webinar announcements, ebook announcements, staff introduction, highlight of the month kind of thing. So, anytime that you can land in someone's inbox, that's a good thing. So where's your company in B2B marketing? Obviously, we are just touching the surface of everything there is to know about B2B marketing and strategy. And it is amazing how fast time flies. And I get really excited and I have a lot of fun, and it just makes it go faster. So, and yes, this really is fun for me. I probably need to get out more, but So where is your company in terms of understanding and actualizing B2B marketing and strategy? And it is really important that you honestly assess this, only because if you get too far ahead of where you are, it's a little bit like alphabet soup. It just doesn't make sense when your buyers and customers are trying to understand it. So, is B2B marketing and strategy, is that like a myth in your company? Or have you started to think about it, or you got stuck when it came to operationalizing it? Do you know the questions to ask to develop a great strategy? Are you ready to create more cohesion with your buying journeys, but maybe you've hit some obstacles or barriers? Maybe you're rolling with some great marketing initiatives, but they're not pointing toward results. So you need to think more strategically about where to put your resources. So when you know where you are in your B2B marketing experience, you can use that as a launch pad for next level marketing strategy. So let the next level pull you forward. In a minute, we're going to talk about 5 simple steps that you can take to make sure your B2B marketing and strategy are on track, or take it to the next level. But first, a shameless plug on how XTIVIA can help you with your marketing. So most companies today have been focusing literally on digital transformation. But digital transformation is so much more than just digitizing, streamlining, stabilizing, cleaning shop on where they are just to reach the minimum threshold of being current with what's needed for today. So digital transformation really affects every part of your organization, from operations to sales, from IT infrastructure to your B2B marketing initiatives and strategy. So when you're ready to really evaluate where you are in terms of developing and delivering an exceptional customer experience, you might find you need a CRM. Or you might find maybe your people don't really understand analytics or how to access data to make informed decisions. You might have to confront that your really established company has 3 different systems that don't talk to each other. We just had this with one of our customers. This company's been around for almost a century, and they because they had so many different systems, they didn't know their inventory, their data was a little bit messy, that's the technical way of describing that, right? All my XTIVIA colleagues are like, oh, why do we let her do these things? But anyway, so, your organization might need maybe a master data management plan. You might need to clean up your data. You might need to integrate applications so that everything's talking to everything else. You might be ready to take your operations to the cloud, which, you really need to think about that if you haven't done that yet. But anyway, or maybe you find your IT staff is burning out because they're trying to monitor and maintain mission critical databases around the clock. So maybe you need a new customer portal for proprietary information, or maybe your staff isn't taking full advantage of your system functionalities because they need some training. Maybe you need some new dashboards. These are all real world scenarios that we can help with at XTIVIA. So whether your organization is smaller or enterprise level with a household name, we work with a range of companies. And a lot of times we work with them behind the scenes. We don't always get to brag that we are helping some of the biggest names in their industries. And that's for various reasons, but we honor our customers in that. And so, but no matter what, we always appreciate being a partner of choice for all of our customers. We feel very fortunate and honored. So on behalf of XTIVIA, thank you to all of our customers for trusting us and having us be your long-term technology partners. So let's talk about the steps you need to take to up-level your B2B marketing strategy. So know your people. A title or a job role just doesn't say enough about how they behave, what motivates them to purchase, how they react in certain marketing with certain marketing content. Different people are motivated by different things. They're engaged by different things. And of course, as we have already talked, the modern B2B sales experience involves more than one person. So you need to know demographics, common interests, motivations for your solution, their pain points, what your solution solves, their preferred method of communication. Is it email or social media? Is it, LinkedIn or YouTube? And you also need to SWOT yourself. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And you want to do that in light of your competitors. Not so much as competitors, it's more because your growth reflects how your market perceives your value in contrast to what they're learning about your competitors. So you just need to know the environment that your buyers are swimming in, right? So that helps you position uniquely. You also want to know your targets. And I call them targets. Goals, so it's easy to use those two terms interchangeably, targets and goals. But goals are kind of rigid, whereas targets is, it's more dynamic, it feels like. So where do you need to be in your field to lead according to what your buyers are seeing and what your competitors are doing? And then once you've got your targets, you can match each one to the best B2B marketing strategy. So for example, if your focus is on upselling or just keeping current customers, you need to focus on retention strategies. If you're looking to increase your leads, then of course lead gen activities that's where you want to put your resources. If you just need to get more people aware of what you're doing and get them in the proverbial door, it's about demand gen. So monitor what's happening in your marketing campaigns, refine them based on what you learned from your results, and then repeat the process. This means you leverage your experience to get better and better results. And a quick distinction, by the way, a lot of times we talk about measurements, a metric is a number. So if somebody's just measuring a number, okay. But a KPI is a key performance indicator. A key performance indicator is tied to results. So a metric is something like number of page views, new website visitors, search rankings, things like that. But a KPI is something like, what's your marketing return on investment? What's your conversion rate? What's your cost per lead? So you want to make sure you're monitoring your KPIs as well as just the straight up numbers. So I think that ends our formal program for today, but I do mean it. If you are interested in talking about marketing strategy, I would love to have a conversation with you. So no obligation. I just want to have fun with you. So here's my information all together. I hope this gives you more information to think about your B2B marketing and strategy. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share one of my passions with you.
Thank you so much, Lynn. As a reminder, these XTIVIA Live Sessions are happening every fourth Thursday of the month, so be sure to tune in for the next one. And if you enjoyed this live session, please click that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content we're putting out. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great Thursday, everyone.